What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. I missed y'all, but I'm back, and it's about to get real messy real quick. Like the video as the intro plays, we got a lot to get into.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. I want to make it make
Make it make sense. That's all. 1 and 1 got to equal 2.
Make it make sense, boo.
Big moves. Surfer. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
Trying to run, she can't run. Now who can't run? Now who can't run? Who can't run? Yeah.
Okay, y'all tell me how the sound is because I might have to run downstairs and get my backup microphone. Y'all tell me how the sound is because I might have to. Wait, it doesn't sound so bad, so we might just use it like this today. It's not my preference, but let's see. Let's see. And get my bag. Okay, so first off, I'm sure most of you guys have already heard. Definitely prayers up for Funky Neva, who found out that he had stage 1 prostate cancer. He didn't do his show today. I'm very optimistic because it's stage 1. I ran into him this weekend. He seemed to be in good spirits, but he had a major doctor's appointment where he found out prayers up to Funky. Okay, let's get into this mess. Do y'all want to start with Vince? Let's just go ahead and start with Vince. I went ahead and I watched the Tasha K interview. She interviewed a content creator by the name of DL Whisperer. Y'all, what he alleged is he met Vince. His verbiage was, this is his verbiage, not mine. He met Vince when he was fresh out of high school at a chicken spot around the corner from his college called Gus's Chicken in Atlanta. He says that they technically did not have sex, but Vince was giving him money. And he alleges that Tamar knew. He said fresh out of high school, but he was in college. Some of his allegations were that the reason that Tamar does prep commercials is because she knows about Vince. He would have met Vince around 2015-16, and I don't believe Tamar and Vince broke up till 2017. This is Tamar doing a prep advertisement. Prep is a drug that you can take. Men and women can take it to ensure that they do not get HIV when they are not using condoms.
People are diagnosed with HIV in the USA every day. is a daily pill.
I hope that that's not like some audio that's gonna get me in trouble.
Or a 2 times a year injection to reduce HIV.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. Funky will be okay. My brother was diagnosed with stage 1 prostate cancer, and he's been cancer-free for 10 years. Routine checkups lead to early detection. I hope so. Prayers up for Funky.
Almost 99%. Mr. makes PrEP free for everyone, with or without insurance. No doctor.
So I went to Vince's page. His page is private. He is now dating a girl that people say kind of resembles Tamar. So then I said, well, has Tamar ever talked, or has Vince ever responded to any gay rumors? And that answer is no. But 3 months ago, he was saying that the family had made up all of the abuse allegations about Tamar. Nothing about the whole gay stuff in particular. And he's not responded to Tasha K yet. So then I said, well, has Tamar said anything about it? And it says, Tamar Braxton has made comments in the past that were widely interpreted as her responding to or alluding to rumors about her ex-husband, Vince Herbert's sexuality. In 2019, she posted a widely discussed Instagram story stating that some men who don't touch their female partners for days really do be gay. While Braxton did not explicitly name Herbert in the specific post, many perceived it as a reference to the dynamics of their former marriage and ongoing rumors. She said, the truth is, ladies, that these dudes out here really do be gay. It ain't enough money, beauty, hair, babies in the world to keep them. They want dick, period. This post followed a period where she had been open about feeling she was living a lie during her marriage and not finding out shit online. Now, I saw this weekend, and Tamar did have a story posted, but of course it was gone when I came back. And the story just basically said, it was kind of like one of those no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I didn't even think to screenshot it because I really thought I was going to be making this video this weekend. He definitely dropped a lot more tea. So you would have to subscribe to Tasha K's website if you want to see the full interview. Les says, what's the point if Vince didn't sleep with him? Tasha asked the question straight up if Vince was gay. He said yes. And I think he said he was sending him like pictures and videos and providing a fantasy. Let me put my banner up. I don't know. I'm just reporting the news. I'm just reporting the news. But apparently a lot of people are fans of his. Chanel's Reality. Hey, Mims, just stop by to support my favorite content creator. Tamar needs some help, like for real. We're about to get into it, Chanel. We're about to go through the whole family and the mama too. G-Ma says, hey, Mims, the DL Whisperer don't care. He's going to tell it. And thank you for being a member for 13 months. And Allie, thank you for being a member for 31 months. I wasn't too familiar with him, but his interview, I do feel like some of the things he was saying was valid, especially as it pertains to he seems to not care for trans people at all. But I do think that the point was made that trans people should definitely have like sports and things like that they can be involved in. So that portion of it I agree with. But yeah, you'd have to check out Tasha's full interview with him on her website to get all the details. But moving on to the Braxton. So I watched the last Braxton show. I have it pulled up somewhere. I have it pulled up. Hold on. So I need to show this. Playing it.
Nasty. Why? No, what's nasty and rude is you're not answering someone when they ask you a question.
I'm have to answer you. You're not answering me honestly.
In your opinion.
You're a liar, Trina.
No, you're a liar. Mentirosa. One day you tell me something y mañana otra cosa.
And back at you.
Oh, you don't know what it means.
It doesn't matter. Trina, why do you think you're better than me? What?
No, that's not what he was saying. He wasn't receiving nudes from Vince. He was sending Vince videos and pictures and providing a fantasy for Vince as like a sugar baby. Vince was not sending anybody any nudes. Vince was not sending anybody any nudes.
No, why do you think
that you?
But I could be wrong. If some of the people in the chat would like a nude from Vince, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat. I'm sure Vince is somebody's type. Go ahead. We listen and we don't we listen and we don't judge.
Why do you think
Let's
that?
get to this. Why do you dislike me so much on camera?
Why do you feel like everybody's upset
But
with
you
you?
just said Mentirosa. I know that bitch.
No, that is not. I did not call you out of your name.
What is the problem? What's the issue
You
that
called me a liar, so I called
Trina,
you one
what
back.
is the issue that you have with me? Put it on the table. Be an adult. You're 50.
Now, okay. I'm sure you guys saw the back and forth, the exchange and everything. Carlos King, Dustin, they do a Patreon exclusive with this very insightful lady. I think her nickname is like Blue. I want you guys to hear what she had to say because under normal circumstances, I agree with her. This time I didn't. I agree with Dustin. And we'll get into it because I'm going to break down how I feel each sister's wrong.
You and I, you think it's a coincidence that who he went to get the information? Trina, you and I are the two who are going to look the worst if this comes out. Because I'm her daddy who didn't do shit and you the auntie who didn't do shit. Do you know somebody who can help me? And Trina's like, I don't know what this is about, but I don't want to get involved. Here's his information. Leave me out of it. Right? So she's complicit, but has done it in a way where she can say my name's not on the deed, right? And so he does this. And here's the thing I need y'all to understand about the business part. And I do want to double click on this. Several of my friends, it's not a flex. A lot of my friends are Grammy Award-winning artists, and they're getting paid from their podcast, not from singing. They're getting paid from appearances, not from music, right? And so the assumption that Tamar's business is singing and being a star, respectfully, I get paid more on YouTube than I did working for iHeartRadio. A lot of times, the hustle that looks the smallest is actually what's keeping you afloat for the optics of the hustle that everybody else is clapping for. So I do believe that in Tamar's mind, as somebody who's been in business conversations that might have included her potentially, and the bags were big, I do believe that in her mind, this media persona that she's doing, this podcast and all her stuff, in her mind, that is her business. It's the thing that's probably feeding her a lot more steadily than the music sometimes, right?
Yeah, but friend, my bad, go ahead.
I'm talking about perception, and I think that's why the table scene was so important. You're about to talk about reality. I'm talking about Tamar's perception, and we tend to operate from perception, not objective reality. So in my mind, I'm thinking I have been silenced by my sisters and I love them. And for some reason, we're good off camera. But like she said, Trina, why are you so mad at me on camera? And I now believe from my research, it's because they all can feel in their gut. They showed up for Tony and stayed for Tamar. Whole different discussion. So now Tamar sees her little niece going through something that she can relate to for reasons that she probably hasn't even clocked herself. So she's thinking, well, I'm doing something good. She talks to Tony and Tony's like, yeah, that Ashley thing was concerning. Let me do the voice. That Ashley thing was concerning. I didn't know much about it, but that is concerning. Maybe we should have her on the Braxtons. She goes off thinking that she has her sister's cosign to support Ashley. But then Tony starts talking to Tawanda and Trina, and then she realizes, oh, snap, this might implicate my sister, right? So suddenly she has to pull back on the endorsement she gave Tamar. Tamar's thinking she's running off with the endorsement of Tony D. Braxton, not knowing the other two in the middle have actually changed the waters, because you know how Libras are. Whoever gets them last and smells the best is going to get their ear, right?
Say it one more time. Whoever what?
Whoever talks to them last and smells the best and strokes them into some, oh, you do make sense. I know I just told her I agree, but you make sense now too. So now Tamar's thinking she has an endorsement that she does not have, not recognizing that Trina has a vested interest in silencing this, and her brother's already in cahoots with her. Allegedly, okay?
Which is why Tamar kept saying, you did not have my back. You weren't defending me.
That part I agree with. That part I absolutely agree with, except for the part, her stance on Tamar. I think oftentimes we expect everyone to adhere to what we're thinking and what we're going through in the moment. And that's not realistic, especially for people who are over the age of 50 or knocking on 50's door. I can love my family member, but that doesn't mean that just because I allowed you to treat me one way your whole life, that in my fucking 50s, I have to accept your behavior. So let's start with Tamar. I think that, we can start with Tony. Tony is the star of this family. That is what it is, point blank, period, the end. Tony absolutely told Tamar to have the girl on the show. And when things got hot, that's when Tony ran, because that's not the easy thing for her to do. However, I think that Tony did this show as a way to send off her sisters. She didn't want them being background for her anymore. She did not want to have to pay them, although I don't believe Tamar, after she got with Vince, was accepting a check from her. I think this show was her way to send them off and to do their own thing. We had Tracy, who put out 2 albums. Trina did a business. Tawanda's the only one who kind of didn't find her footing. And of course, Tamar had Vince. And I think that they all, or at least Tamar and Tony, take care of the mom. I think Tony's issue was her family from the jump. I think that Tony was stifled in the way that she was raised. And I think that it's okay for Tony to be a measured person who, we all know in the 90s, it was a machine. You were a package, baby face, and that RAPIST, wrote your songs, you went to media training, and you did not put things in the street. Babyface taught you that, but that was only reinforcing what your mom did. So the things that held Toni Braxton back were her family. The show definitely was a penance and a send-off. And she definitely did tell Tamar to bring that girl on the show. And she definitely backtracked and pussy popped as quickly as possible to get out of that scenario. That's why she got in Tamar's face, in addition to Tamar mentioning her husband. Let's move on to Tamar. Tamar having her niece on her podcast and by Blue's account being upset because that's her business. We are not going to pretend like Tamar's podcast is paying a car note or anything else. It's just not. Tony was wrong for calling this girl's thing Chitlin Circuit, but at the end of the day, you are making a ruckus because you're not allowed to interview your niece. Also, interviewing the niece was not some altruistic attempt to give her a voice. It was for you to directly benefit from it. So I don't think it was as cut and dry as people who are Tamar's fans tend to see Tamar's actions. Tamar did not just get Vince to initially put up the money for this show because she wanted to make sure all of her sisters were paid. This was a vehicle to launch her career. Like, I just, sometimes you just gonna have to cut the bullshit. This was a vehicle to launch Tamar's career. It coincided with the release of two very good albums. Potentially, I think that she had a couple songs in there that could have even gotten her Grammys. This was a soft launch for Tamar, in addition to helping her family. But none of these people are doing these things just out of the kindness of their heart, just to see people win. Tony wanted that girl on the show because she knew it would boost ratings. I do think that I posted something recently on my Instagram where Tony was saying, I don't like my family. It is okay to sometimes say, I don't F with you in that way. I have grown up with you. I love you, but it's okay for us to have different personalities and me not to want to put up with it. I'm sorry. I like Tamar. I think she's funny. Interacting with somebody who's at a level 10 at all times, I probably couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I think that people, especially younger people, feel like their feelings are paramount to other people. And that's true to an extent. If you give a fuck, we don't all. I can get tired of people. Yes, Tony definitely was also at the time in need of funds and needing to unload her sisters. Absolutely. Absolutely. This was a stepping stone for Tracy, Trina, and Tawanda. And it was also a way to benefit Tony, the mom, and Tamar. And Tamar did become the breakout star. I don't know how that affected Tony per se, because if you are the star and you know you're the star and now somebody else has achieved a higher status and they did it in a way that you can't fathom because you're not that extra, I don't know how that affected Tony. What would you say, Nana? What do you say? Unload? Let's move on. Let's move on to Tawanda. Now, I have a friend who says that I am absolutely wrong about Tawanda. Oh, well. I feel like Tawanda did not find her footing. I feel like Tawanda gaslit the hell out of Tamar. I feel like Tawanda stole from Tamar. I feel like Tawanda did more fraudulent shit. I do. If Tamar wants her $30,000 back, and she said 50, and Tawanda corrected her and said 30, and I'm not paying it back because it was a gift, but Tawanda put on her bankruptcy report that she was in debt to Tamar for $50,000. That is some shady, underhanded stuff. I think the allegations were she initially went to jail for some fraudulent stuff with her first baby daddy or husband. I don't know, that guy who they had an open relationship, whatever. I think Tawanda, after I did my research, felt slighted by Tamar because Tamar left the group when she might have been with Jermaine Dupri's daddy and had that deal. When she left the group, she didn't tell them. They had to find out. And that was going to be Tawanda's pathway to success. When we saw the show, they had Tracy as the wannabe, but technically Tawanda was the assistant to Tony Braxton. There's allegations of her stealing. I don't want to unload on this lady, but these are the things that are out there. And I do feel like she gaslit Tamar. And in the end, at the dinner scene where she wanted her family to press charges on Tamar was absolutely crazy. Because if you follow the show, it might have been season 1. She was also at a restaurant throwing glasses and throwing a fit. So it's not like, I mean, Tawanda's the one you have to watch out for. I think Tracy called her a snake for a reason. Trina. The fault that I see in Trina, and this is going to be controversial. I'm telling you right now, this part is going to be controversial. I'm going to close out Blue, Carlos, and Dustin. Check out his Patreon, Carlos King's Patreon, to see the full-bodied conversation. It was a good one. And I like that Blue lady. But I definitely agreed with Dustin and his viewpoint. Let's get on Trina. I'm going to be so curious how these comments are about to feel about what I'm about to say. In terms of Trina and her response to there being two sides to a story between her niece Ashley and her husband Gabe, I put it in the comment section of the Neighborhood Talk. I think it had like 20,000 likes. There is no conversation to be had about who's right and who's wrong when you have a minor who's dealing with an adult. Trina, you're dead ass wrong for that. You don't have any children with Gabe. Gabe had been cheating on you, but anything that he might have done, even if it was conversations or innuendo with your niece, there's no two sides. One is a minor. And the correct thing to do, if the niece had started engaging with him via text in an inappropriate way, the correct thing to do would have been for you to go to your wife and say, this is what this girl sent me. Y'all need to figure this out and deal with it. But this is the controversial part, because I thought about this from her vantage point. If the niece initiated or flirted via text, because we've never seen the text, we don't technically know what happened. If the niece initiated a flirtatious exchange with her aunt's husband, Trina can acknowledge that her husband is wrong, or her husband was wrong, and you need to break up with him. But also, if the kid initiated, Trina doesn't have to have a relationship with her niece. If a child, and I'm asking you guys to put yourself in the situation, because we don't know. Either way, it was wrong, unequivocally wrong of Gabe, because you're the adult. But if a child comes into a space and tries to engage with an adult as the aunt, do you have to be okay with that child? And the question is, no, you don't. That's not even realistic. And I'm not saying that Ashley did it. I'm just saying from a child cannot initiate anything. Let me tell you where this conversation came from. In that thread where I said that Trina was wrong, that there are no two sides, the adult is the issue. Somebody pointed out in the comment section that some children, sometimes when they're victims of abuse, they're over-sexualized. A child can try something. It's up to the adult to see that there's an issue there and get it corrected. What I'm saying is, until the full story comes out, we don't know who sent the first text. I'm very clear that Gabe is in the wrong. I'm 100% clear Gabe is in the wrong. I'm saying from Trina's standpoint, if it were a scenario where the child did something untoward or did something, initiated or tried to initiate something or flirted with an adult, as the aunt, if the text thread was like that, I could see a space where Chyna may forgive her because I love you, you're my niece, but maybe you're not the kind, maybe I don't want to be around. It really got me thinking. Trina's wrong. There's not two sides to a story. And I do think it benefits her to say things like that. That's what I would do. But I'm saying we're talking Trina here, and I don't know. I don't know if I kind of want Ashley to be able to tell the full story. She might be jealous of the niece. This turned into a full conversation with me and some friends because it was like, look at what happened. Do you remember the story of Precious, where the mom's boyfriend, I think it was Precious' dad, started sleeping with Precious and then had babies with Precious, and the mom blamed Precious, even though the child had been taken advantage of by, I think, her dad. I want the full story too. You're absolutely right. He should have never done anything with the niece. He should have never done anything with the niece, and he should have never cheated on Trina in the first place. Just a different way of thinking. Sometimes when I make a comment on one of these posts and then it goes crazy with like the likes, like 20 or 30,000 likes, I'll go through and just kind of see what people are saying and see where they're arguing. I'm glad that I've never been in that position, but if I was, the first thing to do is to report it to the family to get the child some help if the child has been exposed. And to Tamar's credit, when I was doing this research and I saw that Tawanda was the one who said that Tamar had been abused by a family member while she was alone in the house after all the other girls had left. Maybe she does feel a connection, some type of kindred spirit with her niece. And I do feel like the niece should be allowed to tell her story. I'm not quite sure why the dad would silence her like that. It's kind of weird. You have one daughter who I believe she overdosed and you tried to hide it. And then you have another daughter who you have no relationship with, and you're sending cease and desist to her. It's all like a clusterfuck. And kind of a mind fuck at that. Let me see. Fifi, only 25% of the video. Yeah, definitely hit the like button. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you so much, Fifi. Chanel's reality. Is she the lady that used to work with Jason Lee? What lady? What lady we're talking about? You don't have to send another super chat. You can just put it in there. Gma says their mother made Tony the second mother to her sisters. She was their sponsor. Absolutely. Let's get on Evelyn, because you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I feel like Evelyn was raised in a very spiritual world, and I feel like the dad preyed on her, continued to have children with her, misused her, cheated on her, but they stifled their children. They stifled their children, starting with Tony. Maybe they didn't know better. Maybe it was just the era that they were raised in. But, I think we saw glimpses of just how childlike they could be when they were on Iyanla together. Evelyn looks great, if that counts for anything. Chanel's reality. When I was watching Tawanda's wedding episode, I was like, she did all of this and then filed for bankruptcy. That's crazy. Where are your priorities? I think they said she's also transferred her home into her husband's name. I don't know. It's not like I dislike Tawanda. I don't know the lady, but from what we've seen, and I don't know that I would ever be telling my family members to file charges on one another. I think Tawanda has some deep-rooted dislike from Tamar, but she doesn't dislike her enough not to take her money. That's a slap in the face. If you got 30,000 or 50,000 from me and you're telling me it was a gift that you don't have to pay back, who did I fault? I think that Evelyn raised the children. The dad wasn't there. I clearly said the dad used her, abused her, kept having children with her, and was cheating on her. I didn't say Evelyn was at fault for anything in relation to her marriage, but in terms of her children, I do think that she stifled them and kept them kind of like in a space where they were all still adult children, and then forced Tony to take care of them financially, even when Tony was not at a place to be able to do that, i.e. the bankruptcies. Not Evelyn thinks she's one of the daughters. Oh, okay, I got you. Because I was like, I don't think I said that, but I got you. Sometimes I'll be forgetting. Y'all be having y'all's own thing in the chats. Okay, so where were we? I want to get to some of this other mess, because y'all have been asking me to dip my toe into Bravo. So Monique posted these images. Oh, before we move on from Braxton's, I really liked that there was some resolve between Trina and Tamar. It was kind of touch and go there for a minute, especially when she was like, well, you should have hit me. I don't like that. I don't like to see family in that type of space. And I think that they're all kind of like in flux because the mom is sick. They already lost a sister. I can't even imagine what it's like for a mother to lose a child. Like they say, that's like the worst thing that you can go through. And then to have her own like heart issues and stuff like that, you know, they're all kind of like in flux. So I'm glad that they came to some resolve. Hopefully Tawanda and Tamar can come to a resolve that results in Tamar getting her money back. So I need Tawanda to give that girl back her money the same way that the Scott sisters need to come to a meeting of the minds and a meeting of the banks. But okay, so let's move on to Monique Samuels. So Monique posted this. It was a video. He was kissing on her neck, and then she posted another video of him sleeping in the car. So people started saying that's her former co-host when she was a short-lived radio DJ. Nobody technically really knew why she was no longer with the company, but she was let go. Now they're saying that this man was married. And so if you do watch Bravo, you've seen RHOP where she has made her triumphant return. If you watched that, she said she was in a space where she's, loving herself. And so I saw some arguments in the comments where people were like, did Monique steal this man? Shout out to Giorgio Says. I first found Giorgio because Robin Dixon's husband's mistress had reached out to Giorgio with some receipts. Giorgio has his own receipts about this video that is a year old. So this was mind-blowing. Shout out to Giorgio.
For the purpose of this video, everything that is mentioned is alleged or based on public information. So in case you missed it yesterday, the Neighborhood Talk posted what they identified as Monique with her former co-host Jason Weems in a video together. And in the comment section of the Neighborhood Talk post, commenters were speculating all kinds of things in the comment section about the situation. But back in January of 2025,
we were in November, a year ago.
January 8th to be exact, I was sent the same video privately and decided I would post a blind item.
Look at the receipts. He had this video January 8th, 2025.
Item about it. And in a now archived post, I made a blind item.
The blind item says, this East Coast housewife who's been vocal about not getting her fair share in her divorce might have overlooked the importance of discretion in her latest venture. Her short-lived stint on a popular morning radio show took a scandalous turn when her connection with a very married co-host became a little too obvious. The whispers around the station turned into official complaints, leading to her abrupt termination. The timestamp getaway video says it all. Monique posted it yesterday, I believe. DB says, so why did it randomly pop up? Monique posted it yesterday. So I thought about that. I was like, well, why would she do that? Well, now she's back on the show. I believe she's still a friend of, but if you get enough traction and there's enough, interest in you, that probably leads you to being back as a full-time cast member. And let him finish and I'll tell you what I think.
That did not give any specific details. Very, very broad. And the next day on January 10th, I received this message from D.
It says, you're messy as F, and I hope you get slapped with the lawsuit.
D. Carter saying you're messy as, and I hope you get slapped with a lawsuit.
So let's look up D. Carter Radio. So D. Carter has privated her page.
The message was in response to the blind item, but no photo or video was posted. And at the same time of receiving that video, I was also sent a screenshot that is showing what appears to be metadata claiming this video was filmed May 23rd of 2023 at 1:10 p.m. So from my perspective, I'm only clarifying the timeline in which I have based on what was sent to me. But you guys can let me know what you think down below.
Okay. That timestamp is crazy. If that image really did, because he got it on January 8th, if that metadata was accurate and he was kissing her on the neck in 2023, that's when he was married to this lady. Diane Joyner Weems. I've checked out some of her stuff. It says CEO, founder, global marketer, social innovator, CEO of the Audacity Group, and a visionary. When I went to, where is it? When I went to the Audacity Group, I saw this video.
I got it in my phone.
Where she was saying that she just lost her father this year as well. So shout out to this lady. They say she stopped posting about her husband late 2024. Giorgio got that video January of 2025. So y'all do the math there. January 8th, he said, to be exact. Monique. Allegedly, I don't know. Hold on, let me put this. I bet y'all forgot about this. Y'all remember? Why are his drawers the size of her whole upper body? Oh, okay. So I don't know. I just started watching RHOP again. Stacy, a new cast member, has kind of drawn me in. A shout out to Stacy. She is definitely shutting everybody down. You guys can let me know if you want me to do another like RHOP panel with like Jamie, Gabor, Rodney, maybe Scotty. Shout out to Stacy. If you're watching RHOP, she has become the breakout star. They have talked about this woman's breath, Cookie, talked about her body odor. They have tried to break this woman down every chance they get. What I want to point out, if you are watching RHOP, is all of the women are not naturally forthcoming with information about their lives, especially about their husbands, who they're dating. They are asking Stacy a lot of questions, and she's choosing to lie because, like Phaedra, she doesn't feel like she owes them an answer, and she understands that they are consistently asking her these questions to try to trip her up. So she doesn't care. She does just kind of like lie. Who gives a damn? And the more that people go at her, the better she looks. To the catfish and the scarecrow, Kierna, who wishes she had a brain, they look horrible in this situation. I might have to do a panel or actually have to review the show. I might go back to reviewing Potomac. We'll see. Don't like her. Ready for her to go. Snooze fest.
You didn't like me calling you boring. You are very excited. I'm not boring.
Angel is boring. And Kiana, or whatever her name is just riding the wave with her because that's the rich friend.
Hair that's left over. That's what she do. Sit around there and catch whatever leftovers.
She be catching the leftover hair that Angel drops. I don't like them. And I know a lot of people like this lady, Tia. I don't like her. Let me tell you why I'm not such a fan of Tia. Tia, if you watch the after shows, Tia came on acknowledging that Giselle had given her the rundown on Stacey. If you are genuinely interested in your fellow castmates having a authentic meeting with somebody and an authentic relationship, you don't run down everything that you don't like about somebody. That peppers the person's opinion. And so for Tia to be so smart, you looked insane letting the world know that Giselle gave you a preconceived notion of somebody. If you have a preconceived notion, you go into it thinking, okay, this person's going to be a liar. So anything that you see that equates to a lie, it's more like a gotcha. I don't want a friend like that. Moreover, Tia, if you've been watching the after shows, she says things that are a little jarring. She said that when she first started wearing weave, she decided that her Nigerian heritage was not exotic enough. So she went around telling people she was Cuban. I think a British Nigerian woman is pretty exotic. It speaks to what you think about yourself if you have to go around saying you're mixed, because that's what it equates to. You got to give What Lady more than a season. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of Tia. She lied to you because she didn't want to go to dinner with you. The husband, what's his name? Timu, worst name ever. Timu doesn't seem like he wants to be on television. He's just trying to get his wife back, and they lie because they don't really like you. I might have to review this show. You can put in the comments. Not the UK has bad wigs. I got a little, what is it? I got a little Indian in me, is what everybody used to say. It would make sense as to why she idolizes Giselle. Also, let's not pretend like this is not the show or the Bible according to Giselle. This works in Giselle's favor. If Giselle is allowed to run amok because there's nobody to check her like Karen or Candace, this is what she does with the cast. It's very toxic. And Really B said that production understood just how toxic the women were towards Stacey. So they have Stacey start filming with her own friends towards the end to kind of like soften it up because they were really on this woman like that. So shout out to Stacey for shutting down Kiana, whatever her name is. Shout out to Stacey for giving it to Cookie. If you watch the episode, Cookie looked like she be wearing them. Cookie looks like the lady who buys the gas station perfume oils in multiple fragrances and dips a little bit of each one on her. That's what Cookie looked like she smelled like. So for her to say that Stacey stinks is, it's lowbrow. Who's Sally Cruz? Let me see what Miss Bell had said. Miss Bell says, well, Cuban isn't a race, so Tia could be a black Cuban. Nobody said that she couldn't. it's the idea that she did not feel exotic enough. So she tried to make herself seem more exotic by telling people she was Cuban after she started wearing weave. Her words, not mine. Her words, not mine. I think that Tia should get from under Giselle's bush. I don't know now that Robin isn't there if there's like an opening, but they are all trying to be at Giselle's bush. Let me see. Stacy is a sober version of Katie. I like Stacy. Stacy and Wendy are the duo that I don't think anybody expected. The way that they are going after Wendy for something that Giselle said is crazy. If Giselle called you a catfish and I laughed, why am I being attacked? Everybody laughed because you don't look like your photos. DB says, can we talk about Cookie and her greasy bundles? Why does she always look like she just ran whatever she's showing up? She might have. I feel like Cookie, you knew that you was going to be on camera and you chose that outfit. You chose them bundles and you chose to mess with the wrong one because now you got put off the show. I don't like Cookie. Now, do y'all think Cookie's lying? It is possible that Stacy did tell Chris, but I feel like I need to review the show. It's possible Stacy told Chris what Monique said, but if I know Chris and I don't know Monique, what the hell do I care about you sharing in the women's circle? It's on television. Chris is going to see this when it airs. So what's the point? Like, I feel like they were looking and grasping to try to make Stacy into a villain. If she told Chris, she told Chris. It came out of this woman's mouth. If I have a relationship with him, why wouldn't I tell him? And Giselle's, when Stacy's pointing and stuff, and Giselle is saying, that's rude. Didn't she point to Wendy and say, because I don't like her? Like, I cannot with Giselle. I cannot with Giselle. I cannot with Giselle fans. I don't understand the double standard that this woman is allowed to run amok with. Chanel's reality. Help me understand how Dr. Wendy can say that Giselle is her friend now. We see each other. Ain't no way, because Wendy's always saying that Giselle is her friend. Giselle seems reluctant to even acknowledge it or acknowledge that they have any type of relationship. Bravo has allowed Giselle to create a space where these women idolize Giselle and want to be Giselle's friend at all costs. Angel has fallen in line, even though she called you basically ugly. She said, you don't look like your pictures. Kierna is down for whatever as long as she can stay on the show. Wendy has always kind of wanted to be Giselle's friend. And I also think that Bravo kind of made them calm down during the Candace, at the height of the Candace stuff, because it wasn't fun to watch. The only person who is not up Giselle's ass is Stacy and Karen when she comes back. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why Wendy does that. Maybe it's the weed her and Eddie smoke and eat. I have no idea. But she shouldn't be making any more jokes about people evading taxes. The Real Empress said, hey, members and the bitches. Hey, thank you for being here and thank you for being a member for 18 months. I got to go because I got to eat. I want to end with this. If that is the case with Trina, I would hope that she could get to a space where she could have an honest conversation with her niece and they could get past whatever this is, because it's really hurting the optics of Trina's brand to consistently say there's two sides to every story. There's really only one side, and that's right and wrong. Anyway, I gotta run. Thank you guys for being here. Put in the chat if you do want me to review Potomac or get into it or try to have that panel, because I will. But see you guys later. Prayers up to Funky again. Have a good day, guys.